create to show you how to create these cool little medallions. I guess that's what I would call it, as a medallion, the logo for the school, so that when you're doing graduation invitations for high school seniors, you can include this cool little logo on their invitation. The reason that I make these is that, for instance, this is the John Marshall logo here, and there's the John Marshall logo as it typically appears. Now, on this invitation, it probably would have been fine because the colors were red and black, although on this invitation, while this red in the logo here is obviously their school color, this was one of her images that I did of this girl, one of her dance line pictures, and I wanted to pull the red from this image and have it match the image. I didn't care about the school colors. I wanted to match the image. And so I didn't like how this was going to look on there. It draws too much attention to it. I just wanted it to be a logo or medallion, whatever you want to call it. So this is just drop dead simple, very easy to do. We're just going to, first of all, you're going to need a good copy of their. Remember, if I got this with the transparent background like this, or if I created that transparent background, but to do this, you're going to want to have the logo on a transparent background. If it isn't, when you get it, select that logo, create a canvas, whatever size it is. This one looks like it's like 3 inches square or something. So create a canvas of the size that you need, cut the logo out and drop it onto that transparent canvas. So I look at this logo and I think to myself, okay, I want certain parts of it to stand out. Obviously the shape of the rocket and the fire coming out of the back of the rocket and the words and whatnot. So I'm simply going to use the Magic Wand tool, which is over here on the left side of the screen. There's the Quick Selection tool and the Magic Wand tool. I use the Magic Wand tool a lot for selections, especially when you have nice smooth edges like this. So you're just going to start tapping on these areas, and then after you've done one, then you want to hold down the Shift key, and you'll see the little plus show up there next to the Magic Wand. So now you can keep adding to that selection. And this is a little time consuming, and if the letters are a funky font or not really clear, this isn't going to work really well, and you're going to have to go back and do some hand fine-tuning, zooming in on it. But these letters are nice and clear, so it's not a problem. So now I'm going to select the J and the M and then this circle around there. So now these are all the areas that I have selected, and I want to get rid of those. I want to cut those out. So I have them all selected. I just hit the delete key, bingo. Those areas are gone. So now what you can do is just add a color overlay. So let's just add a color overlay, and I'm going to pull my layers palette over here so you can see that. And if you go down here to effects, FX for effects, and go down here to color overlay, and you just leave it in the normal mode, and then for right now we're going to change it to white. We got to tap in the color first, dummy. There, change it to white. So there we have the logo, just plain white, kind of, it would show up fine on a dark background, but I'm going to add a little bevel and emboss to it, and I'm just going to do the standard presets on the bevel and emboss. Your presets will probably be the same unless you figure out how to change and save those presets, but that's probably what they're going to be on yours as well. And so now you have this cool little logo that you can take and just drop it, boom, right on this image wherever you want. All right, easy peasy. Select those areas, hit delete, drop them out, put a color lay over it to change it to a solid color, and then, for instance, let's go to this image here. Did the same thing with the Mayo High School logo for this kid's invite, and changed it to kind of a gold color. But the idea being on this one, let's go back to this one. We can go to this color overlay layer and decide, okay, I don't want it to be that white color, I want it to be the same red color as that. Just like that. Keeps the bevel and emboss on there, changes the color. You don't want it that big. Bring it down to that size and put it down there, and you're good to go. Pretty simple way to do a cool little feature, and make sure that after you make this, that you save it. that you don't that you don't throw it away, because that's kind of a bummer if you go through the work of doing it. I just save it in that year's file of kids who graduate, so when I'm doing invitations I can go back and grab that and change the color. And another option that you can do, like I did on this girl's image. Alright, so here we have the Century logo. So I want to have it, I want to show these areas of the Century logo. So what I'm going to do, we'll go full screen mode here. I'm going to select all the gray areas. Pick that magic wand tool again. Select all the gray areas. Make sure I get the areas inside too that are not contiguous pixels. That looks pretty good. And then I hit delete. Alright, so now I have this shape like this. So what did I do? If we look over here, this is the one that was that I already did, and I'm going to drop that 2010 out of there. So I just did a bevel and emboss and a color overlay. So that's what I had before when I dropped it in there. Okay. So let's just make that one disappear. Let's take this logo and put it in here. Hit Control T to bring up the free transform tool and size it to the size we want. Bring it up here and position it where we want it. Alright, so there we have it just how we want it, and we have it. Let's select the background layer. So here's the logo. So we have the logo there. Let's hit select and load selection. And what that's going to do is it's going to load that selection of everything that is not transparent on this logo. Okay? Okay, it took me a second there to figure this out again. You can't, I apologize, you can't select off of a background shape, which is, I've turned this background into a background shape. So what I did is we've taken the logo. Here's the logo layer right here. You can see it turned on and off there. So that's the layer that's selected. And I have put it over here on top of this picture layer, because this is a solid piece of editable color, so to speak. So we have that layer selected. We're going to go up here and select load selection. Now you can see the marching ants around our logo. Now we're going to select this picture layer. So now this selection is over the top of this picture layer. We're going to hit Control J. And if we turn this off, you can see that it has made a selection of that color. Now, because I selected it from this layer, and this layer has a stroke around it, that selection also has a stroke around it. So we're going to drop that stroke off of there. Well, now we don't have anything, do we? Let's turn these off. Let's turn the background off. There you can see that we just have the logo in the same color as the background of the invitation. Let's turn this back on. Let's turn these two off, and then let's just do a bevel and emboss on here, but we're going to make it a pillow emboss instead. Alright, so now we have something a little more subtle because it's the same color as the background. I apologize if that seems a little convoluted there. The idea being that you can incorporate the logo into the image no matter what your background is. If this background was plaid, you could make that selection on top of that background plaid color and have the logo, blend in nice and subtly with it. And if it looks a little too intense there, you can just go to that layer and just go up here to opacity and fade the opacity of it a little bit, and and play around with that. So there's a couple different ways there to make logos that'll help you customize